Hello, action wordsmiths. Today we're going to talk about how to craft your own thought-provoking, intriguing anti-hero. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Rory D. Nelson, author of the Brotherhood of Merlin series and its awesome spin-off, The Hound of Hell Dark Fantasy spin-off. Today we're going to talk about how to craft your own thought-provoking anti-hero and some of the best tips for doing so. The definition of an anti-hero is a morally gray protagonist who possesses serious character flaws, and yet he has enough redeeming qualities to actually override that and redeem himself. Or he or she, of course. An anti-hero can certainly be a woman or a man. So some of the most well-known anti-heroes in history are, of course, the Punisher from the Daredevil series. Of course, we have Marv from Sin City, Harley Quinn from DC World, Joker's girlfriend, Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill, and of course our favorite serial killer in America, Dexter Morgan. Leon, the hitman from The Professional, also another well-known anti-hero. We also have classic real-life anti-heroes, such as Billy the Kid, Robin Hood, my favorite, Spartacus, Leonidas, the great Spartan who took his 300 against an army of Persians, Joan of Arc. So here are my top 10 tips for crafting your most awesome anti-hero. Number 1, your anti-hero needs to commit murder. Crime, yes. If he is the least bit squeamish about committing murder, he is not an anti-hero. Case in point, Batman is not an anti-hero. Daredevil is not an anti-hero. They are vigilantes. Vigilantes don't necessarily equate to anti-heroes. They must be willing to cross that line and commit murder. Case in point, the Punisher, Frank Castle, fights on the same side as Daredevil. Daredevil does not believe in killing. He is Catholic. He does not cross that line. Punisher, meanwhile, he has no problem crossing that line. Next is Ixnay on the sexual assault. Yes, your anti-hero cannot come back from sexual assault. Please, he or she should not be committing sexual assault. If you ever watched soap operas from like 40 years ago, you realize that characters could come back from anything. Remember Luke and Laura on General Hospital, how wonderful a couple they were, right? And a lot of people forget that Luke, in a drug-fueled craze, actually raped Laura at one time, yes. And then years later, he became a good guy and everybody accepted them as a wonderful, beautiful couple. It's not going to happen in today's Me Too generation, guys. Sorry, not going to happen. Your anti-hero is not going to come back from sexual assault. So don't let him do it. Next, respect the theme of your novel, guys. First of all, anti-heroes should not be in every single thing that you write. This is best suited to dark fiction, dark fantasy especially. You're going to see a lot of anti-heroes. So know the theme, know your audience before putting an anti-hero in your book. Next, avoid worn out, tired, old, cliched tropes that nobody wants to read about. We've all read about the grizzled old anti-hero with the eye patch who's avenging his wife, okay? He barely mumbles. He says 3 words. People are tired of reading crap like that. Make him original. Consider giving him a leadership role. People love leaders. Your anti-hero should be able to sway the numbers and lead people. This is, he should have a magnetic personality, rather than being the mumbling, reclusive old one. We've seen all that before. So consider making him different. That's going to go a long way to your readership. Consider giving your anti-hero a redemption arc. I've seen a trend lately where people are giving the villains a redemption arc, and I think that is completely unnecessary. You do not need to give your villain a redemption arc. Okay, you want to understand the villain, sure, but you don't need to sympathize with him. Readers do need to sympathize with your anti-hero, so consider a redemption arc. That's going to go a long way in, establishing some credibility and making him a sympathetic person. Your anti-hero needs to protect the innocent, the disadvantaged. Okay, this is one very important thing. He is looking to protect others. He's a selfless individual. He or she is willing to die for it also. That's one of the main things that differentiates your anti-hero from your antagonists, your villains. They are only out for themselves. They're narcissists. Your anti-heroes are not. They're actually selfless people. Next, they need to serve a greater cause. This is very important. They are crusaders. They are looking to perhaps avenge something, but they're also looking for something more. So they need to be able to serve a greater cause. Consider adding a tragic backstory. This is very important. I've seen the trend lately where people are giving a tragic backstories to the villains so you can sympathize with this. I think this is bullshit. Narcissism, people are born with it. People are born psychopaths, and that's pretty easy. We don't really need to understand where it comes from. But do consider giving your anti-hero a tragic backstory. It will instill a lot of sympathy in your anti-hero. So do consider that as well. Next, consider making your anti-hero a leader. Okay, as I mentioned before, we've all seen the tired old, loner anti-hero, and it's been done 1,000 times. So consider making him or her actually somebody that people like. Give them a magnetic personality. That will go a long way with differentiating a new type of anti-hero. I've done it with my own. So it does instill a lot of sympathy, and it does instill a lot of interest in your character. Lastly, an anti-hero is a hero. It is in the name. Yes, he is seriously flawed. Yes, he murders people. He or she murders people. Sorry, your anti-hero can certainly be a woman. But he or she definitely needs to save people as well. It only needs to be one person for them to be an anti-hero, and it can't be themselves, obviously. It has to be somebody else. Remember, your anti-heroes are also selfless. So that's about it for today, guys. Do consider adding these points in if you're crafting an anti-hero. If you really love books about anti-hero, do check out one of my books, The Hound of Hell. It's listed in the link below. The first book is absolutely free, so do check it out. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another awesome video. Thanks, guys.